Hello, hello. Okay, guys, I think we can start right now. I'm gonna be doing an introduction so more people can join in the meantime. Nice to meet you all. I think I see some familiar faces, so some of you guys have already had some connection with us with Jagaad. I'm Valentina Müller. I'm the project manager at the Academy, but I'm also communication manager at the Jagaad Software House, because we are actually a company, we're a software house. And the Academy is one of our main projects because we are in a mission to teach people how to code. Welcome to our community. I think you can share this, change the slide. I think one of the coolest things about the Jagaad Academy is that we are a community. What makes the difference about us, about this coding platform, is that we are all working on software. So the coaches that you will meet today in this introduction to the HTML world he's also a coach, he's also a software developer at the Jagaad, at our software house. Right now, you are going to be doing an introduction to the world of frontend to see for you if this is something relevant in order to change your career path. But I want you to know that we are currently running today, right now, we're already running 2 classes on frontend and backend development. And we will be opening 2 classes soon. So on March 2023, we will be opening 2 courses that are 24 weeks, so long-term 6-month courses on backend and frontend. And the invitation of today is if you like frontend, then you can join us on the long version of the courses. This is a slide that talks a little bit about us, about the software house. So we are a digital nomads company, Jagaad. We are all over the place. I am based in Barcelona, but the coach that will be teaching you today is based in Kazakhstan. Sorry if I pronounced it, Azerbaijan, sorry. And Vlad, who is doing all the backstage, he's in Moldova. Some of the members are in Italy. So we are a very international company. We have our projects, we have our clients. What you are entering today is the community of the Academy, which is part of the Jagaad Software House. Go. Thank you, dear. Why we created this academy? Because there is a huge IT talent gap in the market. So the need for software developers is higher than the high quality developers on the market. And us in the Jagaad Software House, we were finding very difficult to find talents on the market. So we said, okay, let's train them. Let's create our own coding bootcamp so people can learn how to coach with our coaches, with our software developers. And that gives us also the possibility to offer hiring opportunities. So if you are a good student, if you are good at the software development, at the end of the courses, we will hire you or we will connect you with the companies that are hiring junior profiles. Go, thank you. We are doing a fully hands-on coding bootcamp. So what we teach is not only concepts, but you will be doing on these long-term courses. If you are willing to be with us on those ones, you would be doing fully hands-on things. So doing code every day, really practicing. That we think it's the biggest difference that we as an academy have in comparison to Coursera or other on-demand software development courses. That we really, with us, will do a lot of exercises. And also we have a lot of support on the software, on the soft skill side. So you learn a lot about teamwork, about problem solving. And as I said at the beginning, you will be part of a community. So you co-working with other students is very hands-on and very teamwork oriented. Thank you, darling. Next slide, please. This is something that I already shared, so we can go to the next slide. And these are the 2 courses that we have open right now and that we will be launching in March, as I said, frontend and backend. This introduction to frontend class will be the first class of today, and after 2 hours, so at 6, we start with the backend class. So you can either stay for the 4 hours or there will be more students joining afterwards for the second class. Go. And just a small introduction to our coaches. These are coach. These are our coaches. So the coach that you will be meeting now is Ilking, and then we have another coach for backend who is Lucas. Lucas is based in Brazil. So as I was telling you, we're all over the world. So yeah, I'm happy to introduce to you to Ilkin. Ilkin, darling, please, the floor is yours. He will be doing the lesson, and please keep your questions because there will be a Q&A session at the end. The importance of this is that you understand if this is for you and that you ask any possible thing to him, because this is the objective of this instance, to get to know you a little bit more and for you to understand if you want to change a career path or not. So that's all from my side. You will have my email at the end as well. So if you have any questions, you can reach to me afterwards. And nice to meet you all, and hope to stay connected and welcome you to our community.
Thank you, Valentina, for a good introduction. And hi, everyone. So I'm Ilkin from Baku, Azerbaijan, as Valentina already said. So I'll be teaching you today introduction to HTML and generally a front-end world. And I hope you will enjoy today's session and we'll have a follow-up complete course. So let me give a little bit of introduction of myself. I'm Ilkin Gulzade, as I said. I have more than 8 years of experience in this sphere, more focused on front-end side. And I will enjoy teaching you HTML today. What's our agenda for today for HTML side? So we'll learn generally about what is the industry, what is front-end, and what's HTML. Then we'll learn the syntax of that, the structure of HTML. We'll learn basic tags, how to format text. We'll learn how to add images to our websites. We'll learn about how to link pages to each other. We'll learn about head tag and classes and IDs. Yeah, without further ado, let's start. First thing first is we need to understand the industry before going in. So we need to learn about software industry. With the advent of internet and cloud computing, the software industry radically changed, and it changed the way the companies interact with the software and develop them on requirement. So the main trend is here to automate business processes. Like if they see some things in the business that can be automated using a software, they go for it and they hire a software developer. Then software industry is very large, and we are focusing on one part of it, which is front end. We need to know first what is a front end development. You may already know, but yeah, it's good to mention again. A front end development is a process of building components that users actually interact with. So whatever everyone see in the mobile apps, in the websites, they are all front end and UI parts. And our job here is to develop those UIs, the visuals that users are interacting with. Examples can be the user interfaces, buttons, or forms that you see and log into the websites, and the user experience through the website, how they experience the general website. And our aim is meeting those user requirements, that what they expect us to build on the website, and give them a positive user experience. Okay, I would like to ask a question for you. I would like to know your thoughts, and then I will share my thoughts as well. Why you think that you want to be a software developer, and why you think this is a good job and good industry to enter. I will share the link on the chat. Maybe you can go ahead and start adding that your thoughts there. Let me stop sharing and add to the chat. Okay, so you should be seeing that in the chat already. I'll give it 2 minutes to you to complete, and I will see your thoughts here, the survey. Then I will share my thoughts, why I entered the software development industry and what you expect from it in the future. Make like this to see. 2 more minutes for the answers. We already have some. So some people tells their career advancement. They want to advance their career on this sphere. Another one tells my passion for coding, remote working possibility, and possible good salary. Someone else says, because I feel somehow connected with this field of technology. That are good points. And 1 more minute, and I will tell my reasons as well. Yeah, another comment here, my passion to translate design to code. Another one is another advancement to the IT industry. So thanks for sharing your thoughts and expectations. And yeah, another one is it's interesting and it's about the future. These are all correct and match your expectations fully. Why I started to learn front-end development and generally the software development, because someone has already said, because it's interesting. There are no boring tasks every day. You do something new when you're joining a new project. So you don't just focus on one thing. There might be different businesses that you build a program or websites or UI applications for. So you learn new things, and that's something interesting. The second is, again, someone mentioned remote opportunities. You can work from anywhere, like Jagaad is a beautiful example here. So we are all over the world, and I work from cafe, home, anywhere, and it's all good. So it's an opportunity for you as well. And another one already mentioned, a good salary. You earn a good money. You already know that. The average developer salary and other carriers. So you see that there are a good salary, and yeah, these are this was my main motivations to join to this industry. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Maybe in additional thoughts here. Yeah, another one is software developers are creative, brainstorming masterminds behind the computer programs of all sorts. Thank you guys again for sharing your thoughts with me and with us. And let's go to the environment setup. We'll do a basic setup. You might already have these, but yeah, again, let's do that. So we need a browser first, Google Chrome or any other browser. I'm using Firefox currently. We need a VS Code to do our coding on, or alternatively, you can also use Code Sandbox. So let's see, how do we download the VS Code? You just type VS Code download in the Google, and the first link that appears, you go there, and you see the download options for each system, operating system that you have. I've already downloaded for Mac, and it's very straightforward. It's just next buttons, and it's installed. So I will not go ahead and install because I already have this program, but if you like, you can go with that. There are other development environments as well, like Sublime, Atom, WebStorm, and etc. And we prefer with Visual Studio Code because it's free and it has very good features. As I said, alternatively, you can use Code Sandbox IO, which is your development environment on the cloud. You just go here and create any kind of environment for your need. For example, today is HTML. And then you can go ahead and create HTML environment where you have file system, your code, and browser all in one window, which is very good and handy. Okay, so let's move on with generally what's HTML, and we'll then launch up our VS Code to write some code. So what is HTML? HTML is an abbreviation of hypertext markup language, and it's a standard markup language for documents designed for browser. What does that mean? For example, you might already work with similar document types like Microsoft Word. You write some text there, you build a table, and etc. And they're all open in a Microsoft Word. This is one document type. HTML is another document type which browsers actually support. You basically do your structure of website, like each of these features also exists in the world. So then after you build up the structure, you go ahead and with CSS, you design it. So it's basically a markup language, and another comment is it's not a programming language. So it's better to differentiate. And HTML was first created by Tim Berners-Lee in 1993. And the main purpose of it was the structure of creating a structure of web page and display them in the browser to give a browser access to those. And here I gave a link to the specification of HTML, because browsers need to implement the HTML features. They need to see these specifications, how different elements act in what way, so that they can implement those features into the browser. So this is generally a documentation of all HTML. Okay, how do we create and run an HTML file? This is something easy, because browsers already support HTML, and we don't need to do a further setup. We just need a VS Code to create our file and run it. So we'll do our first code, and you'll see there, and HTML files has an ending of .html, like we have txt files or JPEG files, and etc. This is a file type. So to create these, I will go ahead and launch up my VS Code. If you already have that, you can launch as well, or you can just follow up what I'm doing. So here, this is the generally how it looks at first time, and you need to create a new file. Okay, I will create a new folder here called intro FA. Then we'll save our files there. Okay, I will drag and drop this into VS Code so that it opens that folder and we work there. So with this folder opened, I will create a new file called lesson.html. Okay, so just be sure it has an ending of .html, and then you are already set it up, and it is just to write something into that. Let's say as each programmer in the world will write hello world in the HTML file. Then I will make it full screen. Then coming back to the folder here, you can just click this HTML and it will open with your default browser. Okay, and you can see that it is opened and shows the content that we have written into that. If you pay attention, here is our file location, and browser supports this file to be visually seen by the user. So this is our first code, first program that we wrote, and let's move on. So generally, the first index, first HTML files are called index. This is because browsers are in the server that we have, that we store our websites, the places that we store our websites. They look first for index naming. If it has an index name, that means it will be opened by default by the browser. But we don't have any deployments, website deployments here. We just named it lesson. Okay, as everyone learns a new language, we need to learn its syntax, its rules, and etc. Whether it's a human language or programming language, or today is a markable language. So we need to learn how the syntax is HTML, syntax of HTML kind of rules are there, and it's very easy and straightforward for HTML. We have a few components here to learn. HTML is composed of elements, attributes, and values. You can see element we have, an attribute we have, and the value we have. Also, the contents that we write inside them. Elements is something that adds a certain functionality to the content that we create. For example, we have a hello world content created, and we'll add different elements to make it look different and give them a meaning actually. There are certain number of elements in HTML, so there are no infinite. So it is certain number of elements in HTML, and attributes as well. We don't have infinite attributes, and you cannot create a custom attribute actually that has some functionality in the browser. Attributes values are actually custom. So you enter your desired value there that you'll see each attribute source for each purpose, for which purpose, which adds an extra functionality to the element that we create. Elements are also called tags in HTML. We'll learn some of the tags today as well. And there are two types of elements in HTML. Elements with opening and closing tags. Elements with self-closing tags. This is an opening tag and this is a closing tag. It's how it's called. And in between, we can write our content actually. If you see this sign here, slash sign, that means it's a closing tag. This kind of elements called self-closing tags means, yeah, it closes and opens at the same time. We are not able to add a content inside that. We actually add them a few attributes to add our inputs to that. And attributes actually adds a certain functionality to the elements with the values, and adding certain values to the those attributes, we give a more functionality to the element actually. So let's see one of the examples that we'll learn today. I'm just showing an example here. For example, this hello world is just a plain text here. Let's say I want to make it a heading in the HTML. I'm adding a new tag here. So H1. You can see that if we add an opening tag, its closing tag is automatically created. This is by VS Code itself, so that we don't write the whole code by hand and manually. Just copy and paste this in between. And this is our opening tag. This is the content inside, and this is the closing tag. And by the way, if you make any change to the file, you can see that it is now a circle. That means our file is not saved. To save it, you need to do Control-S for Windows and Command-S for Mac, or you can just go here, File, and Save. If you save it, that means the changes will appear in the browser actually. Okay, after you make your changes, you go back to the browser and you make this here. You refresh it. You can see that it's now differently. The visual is different because it's an heading now. Websites has headings, and this is an element that serves for this purpose, which I made it bigger and bolder. So let's continue further with the HTML structure. So here we have an HTML structure that you will definitely see in every website. So if you create a website, it should have this exact structure always, and you add your code on that further. So if you pay attention to the structure, we have a different syntax here that we already seen. This is a special syntax for HTML files, which actually tells the browser that this is going to be an HTML file, and it will be having an HTML elements, attributes, values inside. So support it and make it a visual for the users. And after that, you can see that we have HTML opening and closing. This is a HTML tag, and it's called a parent of all tags because everything else will be inside this HTML. Okay, and as we already told, this is an element and it has opening and closing. And tags actually can be inside of each other. As you see here, we have an HTML and we have actually other tags and elements inside that. This is something possible, and there are relationship between those tags, and here is HTML is a parent of head and body, because head and body is inside of HTML. They are called children of HTML. Okay, HTML is parent and these are children. And the relationship between head and body, they're in the same element, which is HTML. They're called siblings. Head and body are siblings because they're both inside of HTML, and they are children of HTML. Okay, and to create this structure in our actually code here in Visual Studio Code, there are shortcuts. You just write HTML5 and click enter here. You can see that gives some information to us. and it creates that structure for us. There are more codes here that we are not yet interested in. This is the structure that we'll have always. Okay, not write by hand. You can just type HTML5 and tab. It will create that for you. You can see that it creates an attribute here. This is an example of attribute that you see. It's added to HTML element. What's the purpose of this? You can see that it's adding a language to the element. It tells this file's language is English. So whatever content we are going to have inside that, they will be in English. Another cool feature of VS Code is you can hover over any element like this, and it tells what's its purpose. For example, HTML element represents the root of all HTML elements, and it's an HTML document. If you hover over lang, it helps define the language of this, generally this HTML. If you hover over head, you'll see its information, and I will give its information now as well. Head here is, so as you can see, the HTML is divided into two parts, which is head and body. Head actually consists of the metadata and the information of website. For example, it can be a title of website, it can be a description of website, it can be the links to different resources and those kind of things. There are no visuals there, no visual stuff going into this head tag. Okay, we'll not have entering any visuals here. Visuals are going into the body. And body actually represents all the visual content that we are going to have in the website. So a minute ago we had an H1. I will create again that one, and it should go here. Okay, because it's visually seen by the browser. If you again hover over that, you will see that head element represents a collection of metadata of document. If you hover over body, it represents the content of document. Okay, any questions here? Okay, if not, we'll continue with basic, some of the basic tags that is used into HTML that we already seen one of them. I guess there are some questions here. Yeah, it's all clear. Thanks. All right. So there are certain tags that we are going to learn, and they're very easy and straightforward. I hope, yeah, it will be easy for you. We already talked about the first one, which is H1, which is called a heading tag. In HTML, actually, tags are English words, the first letter of them. So just reading a tag, you will understand in future what is its purpose and meaning. So I don't suggest you to learn them by heart. I suggest you to practice them so that you know their purpose. Learning them by heart, yeah, will make your job harder because you need to remember the tag names, and yeah, it will not be smooth. But if you practice them, it will be smoothly coming to you. So we used to define headings in the websites, and it's actually done by H tag. H means heading and its first letter. There are 6 types of heading tags in HTML, which is H1, H2, H3, and accordingly until H6. There are 6 tags. H1 tag is the most important one. So there are requirements from browser that you should be using it only once. If you use it twice, that will not give you any error or any warning that you are using H1 twice. But it is recommended by the specification that H1 should be only used once in the website. And it is the most important heading for the website. If you would like to tell a purpose of website or some keywords of website, it's better to put it to the H1 so that it becomes accessible by the search engine bots like Google or Bing or any other. And accordingly, there comes a next one, which is H2, which is actually less important than H1, and you can have as many as H2s as you want. And accordingly, we have H3 and until H6. Okay, so let's write this code here. We already have H1. I'll change its content telling heading 1. Okay, I'll have H2. I'll call it heading 2. I'll actually copy heading world. I'll have H3 You see that I just type the name of tag and click enter. It creates that for me. It's very easy and handy. Type H3 so that we see that visually on the browser. H4, I will tell heading 4. H5, I'll type heading 5. H6, I will type heading 6. So this is all of the heading tags, and if you hover over, you'll see that represent a section heading. So let's see how it visually seems to us in the browser. And if you refresh, you will see that visually it's also different. Heading 1 is the most important and bigger one. You can see that going to the H6, it gets smaller and smaller. So this is basically about heading tag, and you'll be using it for heading purposes. The second basic tag is an HR, which stands for horizontal rule. It defines a semantic break between HTML sections, pages, and etc. And we will visually see it how it seems, but it's basically a horizontal rule, a separation between two sections. Okay, let's see. I'm using H1 here as a welcome. Okay, here, let's say I'll tell news section. Okay, I'll add here HR. So if you type HR and click enter, you see that there are only one tag here it's created, which is a self-closing tag. And by default, it's created this way. Okay, and browsers actually support tags like this, but by specification, it is recommended that you put this closing sign here, which is slash, which tells that this is a self-closing tag. It's not gonna have a closing tag here. So HR is one of those elements that has only one self-closing tag. But as you saw already, H1 has an opening and closing. Let's say I have another section here, which is, let's say, about section. Okay, so if you have two different sections, it's better to divide them between with HR. So if you just refresh the page, you see that this is the horizontal rule added, and it separates two different sections. The next one that we have is BR, which stands for break. So it's two letters of the word break. And the main purpose of it inserts a single line break between, let's say, there can be paragraphs, there can be sections that needs a break between them. So BR is the way to go when you need that. For example, between H1 and H2, you can see for now, this is the space that it has. Just adding BR, be sure you add a self-closing sign, and it will add a space between them. You see that more space now here. Okay. And by the way, if you add space between tags like this, it will not add those spaces to the browser, because this is just a code that we are writing, and yeah, this is how you add space between them. Okay, let's move on with another tag, which is P tag. So P tag is a word of paragraph, the first letter of that, and it basically defines a paragraph, which browser understand that we are going to add a paragraph in that. And with P, if you add a P to the browser automatically adds a single line blank break to the beginning of that and at the end of that. Okay, let's use that. For example, here I create a P. So inside P, you can write your text, doesn't matter. Again, in VS Code, there are a shortcut to generate a random paragraph so that you don't lose time writing the paragraphs here, because I'm just creating a structure and there will be a real paragraph in the future here. So it's called lorem paragraph. So if you write lorem and click enter, it will generate a paragraph for you, something like this. This actually seems a random paragraph here, but it's actually a Latin story that we don't understand. Me personally don't understand what's written here, but it says that it's a story of golden fish and fisherman. Okay, we just created a paragraph in this section. Let's create another paragraph in a section of ours, which is an about section. Okay, I generate another random paragraph here, and yeah, it's actually getting structured already. You can see that we welcome to the user, we add a spacing, we had one section here, we divide the section, we have another section here. Yeah, going back to see how it visually seems, you see that it's how it visually seems to us. Okay, our section and our second section. It's not just bound to only one paragraph. You can have as many as rolled here that you like. Okay, for example, I made the first one bigger, and yeah, let's say I want to add another paragraph to this section with some another words, and you can see that between them it generates a blank line so that it seems separated. Okay, and as you can see that there are spaces here, but this paragraph is not started from here, it starts from new line. This is the feature of the paragraph tag. Yeah, last but not least, we have a comment tag. So this comment is tag is actually for all programming languages. It exists in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and so on. We'll learn how do we create that comment on HTML markup language. The purpose of comment tag is to insert the comments to our source code. So we write a code, and that code can be complex. And let's say we write some code, and next day or next week we come and see that code. It's possible that you don't understand what you wrote there. It's possible. It's just an HTML that is easy for now, but let's say you're writing a JavaScript. There are more complex logic there, and that's why you might not understand what you have written and what you have sold at that time. So that's why it's better to comment your code, what was your purpose, and why you added that code there. Or another purpose of comment can be to make your source code to look beautiful, where it started, why it started, and where it ends actually. And these comment tags are not visually seen by the user. It's just for developers. For example, you wrote a code and another developer comes to that source code and wants to write further code. They read your comments and understands without reading the code actually. How do we add a comment to our website? We add a comment with a special syntax like this. Okay, you can see that it is with green. That means it will not be visible by the user. For example, I tell welcome. Okay, and let's say I want to tell the another developer that this is a new section. Okay, so I just separate it with comment that telling that news section starts. Okay, and coming down, I made it new section ends. Okay, just developer coming here, they will see just this command and will see that until from here until here, this is going to be a new section. So another comment here, about section starts and about section ends. Here you can put a comment for yourself, add it HR for horizontal rule. If you would like to explain your code, this is just basic. I just wanted to explain you its usage. Okay, so far so good. We have learned our basic tags, and maybe you have some questions or you need some clarifications.
Guys, if you are having some questions, please lower your hands in the reactions or write your question directly to me as for Jagaad Academy or directly to Ilkin. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Vlad. So let's move on with text formatting tags. You would actually, I'm sure you would already seen them in Microsoft Word. This is the HTML way of writing that. Okay, their main purpose is format text that we are having. For example, inside paragraph, we are having a huge text. Let's say I want to format them. Let's say I want to make them bold, italic, or some other styles. Yeah, starting with B and strong tags. B means bold, the first letter of bold. And their main purpose is they make the word that you are adding inside or text you are adding inside bolder. And by style, they visually seem same. They make the word or text bold, but strong has something special also adds to the text. It makes the text strong and important. So what does that mean? Browser see that text and understand that this is something important inside this website. It can be a keyword. Let's say you're having a course website and adding a, let's say, full stack course there, it's a keyword. So it's better to add that into the strong tag. So, and also search engines like Google comes to the website and scanning for this strong so that they understand the meaning of the website. So let's see how they seem visually. Let's say for here, I want to make this text bolder. How do I make? As I said, tags can be inside of each other. I create a here B tag and I cut this with Control X or Command X in Mac. And I paste here with Control V or Command V in the Mac. Okay, so same thing I will do with this one, but with strong. Okay, I will add this role into the strong, and yeah, that's how it seems in the code. And let's see how it seems visually to us. You can see that these words now bolder, which makes them more important. As I said, this strong adds a special meaning to the world text as well. The next one is I tag and M tag. I means italic tag, where you have also that in the world. M tag means emphasize, and they are by style same, okay, like B and strong. But emphasize tag adds something special to the text as well, which makes it the world emphasized for browser and for search engines as well. Okay, so let's say coming back here, I would like to make this world italic. Okay, I cut and paste here, and I would like to take this world and make it emphasized. Okay, I just cut it and paste it here. Okay, I save it and I come back to the browser to check it. You can see that this word and this word is now as differently styled. They are both same by style, but emphasize tag adds some additional meaning actually to the word itself. The next one is mark tag. This is another thing that Microsoft Word also has. Let's say I want this world marked. I enter a mark tag. Let's create this right way. And I add the world elite into that, which actually the main purpose of mark is to make that piece of text highlighted. Okay. So this is now highlighted with yellow color, and it's also exists in the Microsoft Word as well. The next one is small tag, which makes the world actually smaller and its meaning as well less important. Let's say this is something less important that I don't want the browser to mainly look into, and I just go here, and you see here it is now slightly smaller than other text. These are mainly used for the second titles. Let's say you have some title for the section, for example, here. Okay, let's say I tell latest title. I meant small. Latest news from company. Let's say I add the same thing for our another section, which is this, about our company. Okay, coming to the here, you see, yeah, this is added a second title that is an explanation of this section. Yeah, basically, I guess we need to have now break a little bit and pause a little bit. But before that, we'll have our student talking about his experience. Then we'll continue from this small tag that we have left in the second part. So our agenda is now, we have Salih here. Hi, Salih. Nice to see you here. And he will talk about his journey and the experience with the Jagaad, how he's learned and how's the lessons. Then after that, we'll have 5 minutes of break. And coming back from the break, we'll continue with the second part of our session. So I will stop sharing, and Salih, you can start your talk.
Hello guys, hello everyone. I see we have a lot of people here. Good to see newcomers that are interested in becoming a front-end developer, like myself actually. I'm still a student in this first edition, first edition of Jagaad Academy front-end course. So I'll actually want to start my talk about why I chose Jagaad Academy. I mean, the biggest advantage I can think of is it's remote. I mean, all the lectures are like this. You get to do all the lectures from the comfort of your home, in your own computer. And I mean, afterwards, they also provide you some partner companies that want to hire you when you graduate. Of course, it depends if you can succeed in this course, but with all these contents and all these people trying to help out heavily, and our excellent coach Ilkin here, I mean, it's really only up to you, I would say, to succeed. Is it getting tiring sometimes? Yes. Is it frustrating sometimes, especially in JavaScript? Yes. But overall, it's really a wonderful journey. I mean, it's 3.5 months, I believe, from when we started. And we already completed HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We are learning TypeScript in the moment. And after that, we will learn React framework. And we will complete our course with a real-life project so that we can have it in our portfolio. And I believe they also have some workshops to prepare us for interviews, how to create CVs, etc. So, I mean, this course, until what I see until now, has a lot of advantages over the others. I've searched for like 3 months for a suitable course for myself. Even the other fully remote courses, they always have some imprints or some hidden conditions to prevent you from, paying after you're landing a job. But the biggest advantage here is there is no hidden conditions. You can just be successful in the course, do your homework, study afterwards, review your content, and when you get the job, you can then pay it. I mean, it's an investment for them, and it's an investment for you. Dedication is key here. But it's really awesome. I mean, they are all lovely people here. Our project manager, Valentina, our assistants, our coach here. I would totally recommend anyone who's interested. Maybe see you in the second edition. Who knows? Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Salih, for your, sharing your experience with us. And I hope you enjoyed this journey and you still enjoy. Yeah, I hope you'll be a successful developer and engineer, and same for others. Yeah, again, thanks for sharing. Others, we are going to have a 5 minutes of break now. And after coming from break, we'll continue with the second part of the session today. We'll learn more on HTML. Yeah, let me share. Yeah, see you in the second part in 5 minutes. All right, let's continue with the further tags that we have about text formatting. Okay, so we start with del tag, which stands for deleted. So it's used for deleted things. It adds kind of a style. Looks like the text is deleted. The example, let's do inside this paragraph again. This row, I type del and paste it here. If you hover over that, it represents the removal from the document. It doesn't actually remove, but shows that it's kind of deleted. So going back to see it visually. Let's see, where was that? Yeah, it's here. You can see that how it seems. Okay. The next one is instack, which is actually stands for inserted. To use that, you need to type ins and click enter, which will create that tag for you, and paste something into that. If you hover over, it will show that what's the meaning of that. It represents an addition to the document. Something is inserted into the document, kind of vice versa of delete. If you come back to the file, you will see that it adds an underline, okay, to the text itself. Yeah, so moving on with the next tags, we have subscript and superscript tags, which adds a different style as well. For example, if you'd like to do something, let's say I have here, I'll add to the beginning so that we see it. I would like to do 2 power of 2 to seem like that. What I need to do, if you see currently, it's like 22. I'd like to make it to the top of 2. For this, I need to add superscript tag. It represents a superscript. If you cut this and paste it here, and let's remove space as well, you can see that 2 is slightly to the top and smaller. And accordingly, let's say I want to create A1. 1 should be tile of A, means down of A. Currently, it is now side by side. If you add subscript, okay, if you hover over, tells subscript. So you just cut this and add it here, and also remove this. I will also add a break between them so that it seems better. You see that it's now A and sub 1. Okay, this is how you add a subscript. So I will add another break tag so that it starts from new line. So this is basically all text formatting tags that can be used in a website. And yeah, let's move on if you don't have any question. So just raise your hand in the Zoom so if you have a question. So how do we embed images to our code actually? To embed images, we use an image tag, and we need to tell where the image is located actually. So image tag is from those tags that has only self-closing tag, okay, like this. And it has 2 required attributes in that, which is source and alt tags. Source means basically a source of image from where we take the image. And alt tag means the alternative text when the image is not shown or broken or for some reason. Okay, let's say here what I want to do. We have latest news from company. Let's say I would like to add an image to here before the paragraph. Okay, I type image and you can see that it is created and it has 2 attributes created with it as well. For the source, we need to have an image downloaded. To the alt, we need to add an alternative text for the image. I've already have an image here, already downloaded, which is just an HTML5 logo. I add that image to our folder here that we have, a project folder. Okay. going back to our code here, yeah, I need to tell where the image is located. You can see that as the lesson.html and image, our image is the same in the same directory. I just basically need to tell that take HTML5 PNG JPEG. Okay, so they're in the same place. It will it can access it, and here I will type HTML5 logo. If you come back here, you can see that our image shown a little bit bigger, but yeah, anyways, it shows. Okay, and I will add a little bit break here so that it starts from new line. Let's see, yeah. So there are a little bit of things here to talk about source, but before that, let's say for some reason I just gave the HTML JPEG a name wrongly. There are no file called HTML5 here, so it will not be able to access that. What happens when that is the case? In that case, we have our HTML5 logo shown, okay, which we added to the alt tag. So when something happens to this image, this will show. Let's say we have here a folder called images where we put all of our images into, so that we make our project structured and more clean. In this case, let's say I will move this to the images. Okay, now it's in images folder. So even if I now write HTML5 JPEG, it will not be accessible for me. You can see that it's not showing still that, because I need to tell this image that please go to the images folder and take from there. For this one, we need to give an exact path. So we need to tell exact path of image. So for that, I need to tell explicitly go to the images with slash, then take HTML5 JPEG. Okay, so now it will be able to access, because from lessons HTML, I need to go to here and take it. Going back, you will see that it's now accessible. Let's say another case is I have here a, not here, I'll do it this. In the project root directory, I have pages folder where I actually add my page there. Okay, so this is, let's say, added here. Okay, I need to reopen that in the browser, by the way, because the file place is changed. I need to reopen that, because if you go ahead and refresh it, it will not be found, because it looks into the intro front end and lesson HTML, but there are no file like that. It is in pages folder. How's this? Yeah. Okay, this is now viewable. Let's say from here, I want to access to that image. You can see that that image is not showing to us again, because we again need to tell the exact place that the image is located at. Currently, we tell go to the images, but from pages folder, we don't have images folder. We need to go one back, which is root directory. Then we need to go to images. To tell the computer to go back, we use ... and slash, which basically tells that please go one directory back, then go to the images folder, then take that image. Okay, this is the meaning of this ... slash, means go back. Okay, then going back, go to the into images folder and take that image. And in this case, we can see that image is already accessible for us again. So these are called paths. Okay, this thing here, and this is how you actually interact with those paths, going back, going inside, and etc. I will make it again to the old version. Okay, now I will make it like this so that it works, and I reopen. From here, I delete pages because it's in lesson HTML directly. There are no pages in between. Okay, and yeah, let's see what else is left here. Yeah, we have more attributes on the image, like width and height. As you guess from the name, it adds width of image and height of image. Okay, and they work with pixel sizing. It's a unit, sizing unit for frontend or design or anything else that is digital. I add 100 pixel and 100 pixel. So width of this and this. Coming back, we can see that it's now changed its size to the 100 and 100. And you can see that image is a little bit kind of stretched down, okay, which made it smaller to keep that size. Let's say I don't want that to be stretched, but I want its height to be 100. In that case, I need to delete width and on the left with height, so that we only have a height here. You can see that now our height is 100, but our width is automatic to the proportion of that height. Okay. If you want that width to be 100, you enter that. You can see that now height is proportional to the width. Let's say I want to make it 300, and going back, you will see that. Okay, this is how we embed images. This is called an exact path of image source. We can also enter the image path from the internet as a full exact place that we can take it from. Let's say I write HTML5 logo. Okay, going here, or I just write HTML5. Okay, let's say I want to take this one and show it to my website. I just tell copy image link, and going back here, instead of that, I just paste that image link, which is exactly from internet, which at the end is a JPEG. Okay, saving that, you can refresh and see that appearing. Okay. Yeah, this is how you can add the image from internet as well. But for now, I'd like to have an image from our project folder. Yeah, this is all about images and how we add them to the website. And the next coming up is anchor tag. What is the meaning of anchor? It points to some from one file to another, and its usage is it defines a hyperlink. What does hyperlink means? Let's say you have some link on the website that clicking that will take you to somewhere else. It is created by anchor tag. Okay, so how do we create that? Let's say I would like to create it in the about section. Okay, to create an anchor tag, we need to type a tag. Here you can see that it is an a tag. It has an opening and closing. Okay, and it has one required attribute, which is called href. And actually in this href, you need to add the actual place that you would like to the user to land or go. Okay, in this case, let's create it. I'll tell a tag. Okay, and here you add your text that is visually seen by the user. Let's say I tell read more. Okay, something like this. So inside this href, I need to add a link, but we can for now add this hashtag sign, which basically means a dead link. So this link doesn't take you anywhere. Just clicking just into that will not take you anywhere. But just for explanation, this is how it seems, and clicking that will not take you anywhere because it is a dead link. Then let's put a real something to that. Let's say I would like to go to google.com when clicking to that. But just typing google.com will not work because I need to tell the full path exactly. HTTPS I need to add because this is how it appears when you go to the google.com. Okay, you can see that it has HTTPS protocol on that. This 3W is not needed. Okay, so if you don't enter this protocol, it will not see that as a website link or some link. If you save it and come back, okay, you can see that link is here, and clicking to that will take me to the Google. And as you can see, link has a default style, which is added by the browser, which makes it underlined and blue. And if you click a link and come back, you see that its color is slightly changed. That means this link is already visited. Okay, more on links. Let's say I have from pages, I have news1.html or yeah, something like that. Okay, this is my second HTML file that I'm creating. Okay, as I said in the beginning, we need to create its structure first. Okay, structure is created. Let's say I will tell here with h1 news1. I will add a p, which is just a random thing, and I will add an image here as well, which actually takes it from back, images, and HTML5 JPEG, and I will tell HTML5 logo. Okay, this is the second page that we have now. So I want to go from lessons HTML to news1 HTML when clicking to this read more button. Okay, for this, we need to tell, like in images, exact place of that file. So exact place of that file is from pages, take news HTML and open it in the browser. Now, when clicking to that, will take you to news1 HTML. So coming back here, you can see that read more is now back to the color, new color, because it's not visited yet. If you click to that, it will take you to another HTML file. You can see from the link that it's from pages and news1 HTML. So this is how you make the navigation between the pages. Let's say from here, I would like to go back with a tag. I'd like to go to back and lessons HTML. Go back to home. So if you come here, you see that there's go back to home. If we click to that, it takes us back to home. Then you can just navigate through our website between those two pages. Okay, more on tags, a tag. Currently, when I click to this link, it takes me to the new page, but they are happening on the same tab. You can see that tab is not changed. And if you notice in some websites, when you click some link, it opens that in the new tab. I mean, if you click to that, this is not opening in this tab, but a new tab opened in the browser. For that, we are using a different attribute to tell A that open this link in the new tab. For this, we need to add a target. So target attribute has some certain values that you can give in, which is blank, parent, self, and top. We'll be using blank here. Self means open in the same tab. So if we click blank, it will open this in a new tab. So we have again read more, clicking to that. I didn't add to that read more. I added to the go to back home. I need to add same attribute to here as well, so that to make it also open in blank. Going back and refreshing. If you click to that, you can see that it stays and new tab opens. If you click, did we save it here? Yeah, just deleted that. Yeah, let's go again there. If you click here and click back, you can see that it's now opened in new tab. So each time it navigates, it's creating a new tab and opens that link there. It also works with some links, with some websites like https google.com. Take me to Google. Okay, going back here, we have this link, clicking to that. I didn't add target as well, which I need to. I go back and refresh. Clicking will take you to the Google, but your website still stays here. Okay, this is how you navigate users through pages. But link tag doesn't end here. A tag doesn't end here. It has more features as well. Let's say I have a new section here. at the end, I create this H2, but before that, I need to have an HR. So I will copy here, tell this is a contact section, and ends here. Here I tell contact section. Okay, I'd like to give an contact information of myself to the coming user. I can use, in that case, a tag. A tag has different values that you can add, like mail to value, adding here. So when user clicks to that, it will open an email client and adds this to the sender part, I mean receiver part. Like I tell mail to, okay, means mail this to this address. So I tell ekin.ruzada@jagaad.com. Here I type mail me. Okay, let's see how it will seem. So there mail me button. When you click to that, you see that there's a mail client opening. I don't have that set up. That's why I don't see it. There are one question here, tells how to add border to image. You can add border to image using CSS. It's not the scope of this lecture, but I would like to just tell it right away where we have an image. Yeah, here. To add an image border, you add a style border, 1 pixel, solid and black or red, let's say. I will make it 2 pixel. So to answer your questions, this is CSS, this is not an HTML. So if you'd like to learn about CSS, join our complete course to master the CSS and do whatever you want with the styling. But yeah, basically this is how do you add a border to the image. Thanks for question. I hope I answered your question. Yeah, where I left was mail to. This is not the only thing it can do. For example, I can also tell telephone. Okay, here let's say you can add a random cell phone. Okay, call me. This is very useful when users are going to visit your website with phone. If they click to this link, right away it will ask, do you want to call to this number? So it's very useful and handy. But here, as I'm in laptop, clicking to this call me will ask me with what program you want to call this number that is specified here. Yeah. I guess this is all about anchor tag. Anyone having any question can ask. If not, we'll continue in 1 minute. Okay, I assume you don't have a question. That's something good. That means you understand. Here we have something about head tag, because until now we always talked about inside body, because they are all visually seen and we write good amount of code here. Now we need to talk about the head tag. Okay, as I said, head has meta information of our website, so it basically serves for that purpose. And there are some tags that can be used inside head. For example, and I'll also give some information to the browser, by the way. For example, I would like to change this title here first, because it's currently showing my file name, which doesn't seem good. Okay, because in websites, it's usually the page name. So I need to communicate to the browser, tell that please show that title. For that, we use a title tag. I tell here Jagaad Academy, let's say. Okay, I add this title, and coming back here, you now see that it's changed to the Jagaad Academy. So this is how we change the tab name here. More on the head tag, we have link tag. The main purpose of link tag is linked to some files to our HTML. For now, we are just learning HTML. We don't have any other technology like CSS, JavaScript, or fonts, or different kind of stuff. That's why we are not going to use link tag, but this is how its syntax is. You type link, you add rel tag, which stands for relationship. That means the HTML and CSS as HTML and the file added, its relation is style sheet, because CSS is served for styles. In href, you add the place of the file. And we have a bunch of meta tags. Meta tags adds an information and different stuff, different kind of informations of our website. Like the first meta tag, it tells the browser that our character set of our website is UTF-8. This is a standard. For example, you might have a website with different languages which need to support different kind of characters. Like in Azerbaijani language, there are characters that's not supported sometimes with the browsers. So that's always useful to add this so that the browser understands that my character sets also has some different languages which you need to support. For example, in the past, when you add some different characters from different languages, it wasn't showing on the browser. Just adding this was fixing it. Just it tells the browser, please use UTF-8 standard. This is something standard that you'll add for all of the websites. And we have a bunch of other meta tags. You see that they are kind of differently attributed. They all have a name and content. Name is special to the meta. We have meta name description, meta name keywords, meta name author, meta name viewport. Okay, these are standard. And in the content, you add your inputs. Like description can be Jagaad Academy website. Let's add that. I tell meta name description, and the content I tell Jagaad website. Okay, in what purpose this serves for? This tells to the browser that take the description of my website from here. Okay, if you go to the Google and search for something, let's say HTML5, the first site comes in is this Wikipedia, and this text here that is showing, it's actually the meta description that is added to that website. Okay, so this page includes this meta description, and this description shows here. And it's recommended to have 160 characters into this content and not more than that. Okay, the next one is meta name keywords. So this actually adds keywords of our website. I will add Academy, and they are comma separated. Okay, and etc. So you can add comma separated keywords of your website here like this, which actually, when search engines comes to your website, looks at these keywords. If these are searched, Google shows your website in the front. And the next one is author. Okay, which is again with meta tag, which is called meta name author, and content is, let's say, the author of this website, let's say Viking Gulzada. And this actually, it's for just an information purpose. You might not add it. This just tells that the author of this website is this person. If you have multiple authors, you can do something like comma separated. The next one is something standard that you will copy and paste every time, which tells the browser that if my website is visited with mobile, take the width of website with the device width. So it's kind of telling that please make my website to be visible on the phone. If you saw the old websites, when it's opened on the mobile, it was showing the desktop version, which is not something we want. And we told that show with the scale of 1, so just a normal scaling. Yeah, this is all about the head tag and its content and meta tags. There are more meta tags that can be viewed. Maybe if you join the course, we'll talk about them as well in the future. Do you have any questions for 1 minute? No? Okay, if not, let's talk about the last thing of today, which is class and ID attributes of the HTML. So HTML has two attributes called class and ID, which serves for certain purpose, and actually they're most likely used in the CSS part. But yeah, it's better to know that in HTML because it's part of HTML. But it's mostly serves for CSS purposes. In future, if you'd like to select that element, you use that class and ID. What class means is class attribute is used to specify a class for an HTML element. Let's say you have multiple elements which are similar. Okay, like here, if we look at our code, these H2s are kind of similar elements because they are all served for the same purpose, like they're all an heading of section. So you can actually add the same class to them. Okay, let's say I go ahead and add a class to this H2. To add a class, you just type class and enter. That means you add a class to this section. I tell section header, or you can also tell section title. Okay, so you kind of group the elements because there might be other H2s in the website, but this H2 is a special one, which is a section title actually. Okay, I copy this class from here, and let's say I add that here as well, and here as well. Okay, which kind of groups them. There's nothing visually happening here, but let's say later with CSS, if you would like to select all of the elements at once, you do something like this. What's the name of that? Section title. Let's say I would like to make them red. Okay, tell color red. I didn't add that to this style tag. Okay, so just adding one quote, you can see that all of section headers now red because I have grouped them to be a section title, and I gave that group a CSS of color red. Okay, and accordingly, ID actually is vice versa. It gives a unique ID to an element. Let's say between them, this is something special that it will have some special style in the CSS. What you do, you just go ahead and here type ID. I tell news section title. Okay, just adding this new section title will make this unique. You can have as many as classes you want, one class for each one, but ID should be only unique and one. Okay, and you can add actually multiple classes to one element. Let's say I have a title class, okay, section class, and etc. I can add them comma separated, and I can choose each of them actually inside this style tag. Okay, but with ID, things are a little bit different. You can only have one ID for one element, and that ID should be unique. So you cannot reuse this ID in other places. Like, let's say here, I cannot have the same ID. It will give me some warning in the browser. Instead, I will make it about section title. And let's say this one, I will make it contact section section title. And you can see that I can choose, let's say, about section title, and I give text decoration of underline. And going back here, you can see that all sections are red, but this section has something special, which makes it underlined. Okay, so this is generally ID. Main purpose is giving an identification to an element. Class main purpose is group similar type of elements into together. Okay, you can also hover over this and read about that. Any questions here? I will tell more about our task now, what we are going to do, our course test. So as I said, our main purpose of this one, if you'd like to do that later for yourself, you can do a task. Okay, I will give a task for you. Maybe you would like to test it at the home for yourself, but it's not required to check. I will have actually a follow-up test, a follow-up email for you to be sent. You will receive recording today's slides and also that task link where you can go ahead and do. But basically, let me find that task first. Just a minute. I will stop sharing. Go that window and share it again. Yeah. Let me reshare again. Yeah, this is just some suggestion that you might do at the home, but it's not required. So our assignment is you need to create an HTML file called lesson HTML and add a structure on it. You need to add heading of news, you need to add paragraph, and you need to have another page with the full news, like full text you will have there, images, links, etc. And from the main page, you will have link to that news page. Okay, so as I said, you'll have another news page from lesson HTML. We will have a link to that, and that is something expected. You'll have newses like this, and clicking to the read more button. Okay, like here, it will take you to the full news. Again, this is not required, just for you to test the efficiency of lesson, how you listened, and how you can do after this. Yeah, now is a QA session. You can ask your questions to me, technical stuff. Maybe you are interested in the technologies, what technologies we are going to learn through the lesson, full course, how things are going to be, do we do hands-on, and etc. These kind of questions can be asked here. And if you have any questions regarding how to join the course, contract, and etc., you can write to our dear Valentina, and here is the email of her that you can just note for yourself. And also please follow us on Instagram. This is our account there, Jagaad Academy, and LinkedIn, which is Jagaad Academy. Yeah, questions? I'm waiting.
Meanwhile, guys are preparing some questions. I also have received a pair of it. Guys are asking if we will have recording of this session and if we will share with the presentation that Ilkin have shared with you. Yes, guys, shortly, hope tomorrow you will receive the recording and also the presentation, and you can try it on your own, how to create this page. Also have received a question about CSS, if we are going to make this kind of webinar about CSS. Unfortunately, guys, today we have covered only introduction to HTML, but CSS, that's what we are considering for the future. But now we can't disclose the exact date.
Yeah.
So keep following Jagaad Academy.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for additional information. And about our course, let me give a little bit of introduction about that, how we proceed in the course and etc. So we learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, Figma, React, GitHub, and etc. This is kind of all trending technologies together that every company today requires you to have as a front-end developer. We cover all of them, and our sessions are theory and practice balanced. So you have a lot of practice, and we have modules, and in each module you have a project given. So you have your portfolio ready at the end. And for the end, we have a big project where you can add and show your project when you are hired. And we also have an HR sessions where they make you your soft skills ready for the job that you might have in the future. And at the end, they prepare you for the interviews, both HR and technical interviews, and we have mock interviews as well. Yeah, this is all from my side today, and I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you learned the most part of HTML, and I hope to see you in the course so that I can teach you more technologies like this and in an interactive way. Yeah, thanks guys for listening, and I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the lecture complete course in the future. And yeah, next, please don't leave. If you'd like to join our PHP introduction session, which is going to be 2 hours long, and it will be presented by Lucas from Brazil. He'll be explaining you some introduction to the PHP. By the way, we have also one question in the chat. It is asked, can we create a table in the HTML? It's actually not included to today's session, but it's actually included to the advanced HTML. Maybe if we have that session in future, if we plan that, maybe we can do there, or you can join the complete course to see how we use a table and how do we create that. But you can also reach me out on my email, ilkin.gluzada@Jagaad Academy, and ask, and I can show you the examples there. I'm writing my email on the chat so that you all have an access. So if you have any technical questions, you can just reach me out here at this email and ask your questions. And yeah, Vlad, maybe you can take on, and thanks guys, and see you later.